Well, good afternoon, everybody.
Pozdravljeni tudi popovdne.
I hope that you haven't eaten too much.
Upam, da niste pojedli preveč.
If I see any of you nodding off to sleep, I will shout louder just to
Če bom videl, da
disturb
kdo
you.
kima zaradi spanca, bom začel govoriti glasneje.
Now, let's just remind ourselves very briefly of where we have been so far today in the book of Genesis.
Spomnimo se na kratko, kaj smo slišali dopoldne iz prve knjige Mojzesove.
We started by standing back from the text and trying to take in the broad view.
Začeli smo s tem, da smo se malo oddaljili od besedila, da bi videli širši pogled.
We saw how the various elements of Genesis 1 fit together and are balanced.
Videli smo, da so sestavljeni posamezni elementi iz tega prvega poglavja, tako da so v ravnovesju.
And how we have that repetition in the various days.
In kako so se stvari ponavljale v določenih dnevih.
How the Sabbath breaks that pattern.
In smo rekli, da sobota potem je izvzeta iz tega vzorca.
And we've seen how Genesis chapter 1 is speaking against the commonly held views of its time.
Videli smo tudi, da prvo poglavje prve Mojzesove govori proti mnenjem, ki so bila splošno privzeta takrat v svojem času.
It doesn't speculate on the origins of God.
Ne špekulira o tem, kakšen naj bi bil začetek Boga.
It makes a distinction between creation and the Creator.
Ampak dela razliko med stvarnikom in stvarstvom.
And it paints an altogether different picture of a God who simply speaks and it happens.
Slika, ki jo najdemo v prvi Mojzesovi 1, je pravzaprav slika stvarnika, ki govori in stvari se dogajajo.
There's no struggle, there's no battle at all.
Ni borbe, ni vojne.
And what is more, the heavenly lights are simply lights.
Še več, svetila na nebu so preprosto svetila, luči.
They are not gods who direct our lives.
Ne gre tukaj za bogove, ki bi določale naše življenje.
Now, of course, there are many other things we could have looked at.
Lahko bi videli oziroma se ukvarjali z drugimi stvarmi tam.
But that was enough for one session.
Za eno predavanje je bilo dovolj, kaj ne?
What I'd like to do now is to finish looking at this first chapter of Genesis.
Zdaj bi pravzaprav sklenili prvo poglavje v prvi Mojzesovi.
And I think what we'll do is, once I've done that, we can have a little bit of time for questions at that point.
Ko bomo končali s tem, bom dal na voljo nekaj časa, da bi lahko zastavili vprašanje.
So what I'd like to do now is to move on to the sixth day of creation.
Zdaj bi torej prešli na 6. dan stvarjenja.
And on the sixth day of creation, we have the creation of the land animals and human beings.
6. dan je Bog ustvaril kopenske živali in tudi človeka.
And it's helpful for us to read this day of creation quite carefully.
Zdravo bi bilo, da preberemo ta dan stvarjenja prav pozorno.
Because Genesis wants to do at least two things on this sixth day.
Ker prva Mojzesova želi, da bi, ko se ukvarjamo s 6. dnem, bili pozorni na 2 stvari, najmanj 2 stvari.
We have the creation of land animals and human beings.
Torej imamo stvarjenje kopenskih živali in ljudi.
And Genesis wants to tell us 2 things. First of all, human beings and animals are very similar.
Prva Mojzesova bi nam hotela povedati 2 stvari. Prva od njih je, da so kopenske živali in človek nekako blizu drug drugemu.
They have several things in common.
Nekaj stvari delijo, imajo skupnih.
So let's just see how it underlines how human beings and animals are similar.
Poglejmo poudarke, ki nam govorijo o tem, da so kopenske živali in človek podobni.
See, if it begins in verse 5, Genesis 1 verse 25.
To je prva Mojzesova 25. Prvo poglavje, 25. vrsta.
I just want to show, it's very simple, but I just want to show the language of this verse.
Rad bi, da smo pozorni zdaj na jezik, ki ga uporablja ta vrsta.
That the God made the wild animals of the earth.
Bog je naredil zveri zemlje.
And then these are the wild animals of the earth, and then we move down And then we see
Gremo
that
naprej.
God is talking to humankind, and where are we here? It talks about giving them food, seed from on the face of all the earth.
In potem se Bog pogovarja s človekom in pravi, daj vam za hrano seme, ki na licu vse zemlje.
It's simply underlining that where the animals are, so the human beings are in the same place. We're here on earth.
Ugotavljamo, da kjerkoli so kopenske živali, je tudi človek.
And it talks about it giving these plants on the earth as food for human beings.
In prav tako nam govori, da so rastline dane človeku za hrano.
And then, of course, the animals of the earth. They are given these things to eat on the face of the earth as well, for
Tudi
food.
živali so za hrano dobile isto hrano po vsej zemlji.
And all of this, of course, takes place on the sixth day.
Vse to se dogaja 6. dan.
Now, putting this in simple terms then,
Če to povemo zdaj preprosto,
human beings and animals are created on the same day.
človek in živali so ustvarjene na isti dan.
They live in the same environment,
Živijo v istem okolju,
that is the earth,
to je zemlja,
and they are sustained by the same food, vegetation.
uživajo isto hrano.
So human beings and animals have much in common.
Torej ugotavljamo, da imajo živali in človek dosti tega skupnega.
But
Vendar,
very significant dissimilarity between the two.
tukaj je ena zelo pomembna razlika.
Human beings are not simply animals.
Človek ni preprosto žival.
Genesis says that we as human beings are God's representatives on earth.
Prva Mojzesova nam pravi, da smo mi Božji predstavniki na zemlji.
We are made in his image.
Smo ustvarjeni po njegovi podobi.
And then Genesis goes out of its way to underline how significant human beings are.
In prva Mojzesova tukaj zelo poudarja, kako pomemben je človek.
Now you remember, so far in looking at Genesis chapter 1,
Do sedaj smo, ko smo brali prvo Mojzesovo prvo poglavje,
we've considered how Genesis is different from the generally held views of its time.
smo ugotavljali, da je prva Mojzesova zelo različna od mnenj, ki so bila splošno sprejeta v tem času.
And seeing how Genesis underlines how significant human beings are, this is another example of that same thing.
In isto stvar vidimo tukaj z velikim poudarkom prve Mojzesove na pomenu človeka v Božjih očeh.
So let's see how Genesis does that.
Poglejmo, kako to prva Mojzesova naredi.
If we go to chapter 1, verse 26,
Če beremo to prvo poglavje, 26. vrsto, Bog je rekel, naredimo človeka po svoji podobi, kot svojo podobnost. Gospoduje naj ribam morja in pticam neba, živini vsej zemlji ter vsej laznini, ki se plazi po zemlji.
that's a familiar passage to most of us.
Večini nas je to zelo znano besedilo.
But it's the beginning, which is what I'd like to have a look at.
To je samo začetek tega, kar bi rad, da opazimo danes.
Let us make humankind in our image.
Naredimo človeka po svoji podobi.
Now, I assume it's there in Slovene too, that it's in the plural. Let
Yes,
us.
yes.
Yes. So, why let us?
Zakaj tukaj naredimo v množini?
Why not let me?
Zakaj ne piše naj naredim?
It is God speaking after all.
Na vse zadnje Bog spregovarja.
Now, the use of the plural here, us,
Uporaba množine tukaj
has intrigued people for centuries.
je bila velik problem, oziroma ljudje so si zastavljali vprašanja glede tega stoletja.
You could float a ship in the ink that has been used writing on this particular topic.
Lahko bi splavili ladjo v črnilo, ki je bilo uporabljeno za to zadevo.
Now, I'm sure that you too maybe have an idea on this or have heard ideas as to why it is the plural.
Prepričan sem, da vi imate neko misel o tem, zakaj je tukaj uporabljena množina in ste slišali, brali različna mnenja o tem.
So maybe you might want to just tell me of any ideas you've heard on why we have the plural here.
Morda bi lahko dvignil zdaj kdo roko in povedal, kaj ste slišali o tem, zakaj je tukaj uporabljena množina.
God's Trinity.
Okay, so that's right. I heard several, but I understood one in English.
Slišal sem več stvari, ampak eno sem razumel, torej bilo je trojica.
That it's a reference to the Trinity.
Ja.
Now, do I believe in the Trinity?
Ali verujem jaz v Sveto Trojico?
Yes, I do.
Verujem.
I wouldn't be at the theological department at Newbold College if I didn't, of course.
Ne bi pripadal teološkemu oddelku na Newboldu, če ne bi verjel to.
So, yes, I do believe in the Trinity.
Verujem v Trojico.
But is this text referring to the Trinity?
Ampak vprašanje je, ali to besedilo pravzaprav namenja pozornost Trojici.
Now, in my opinion, the Trinity is something which becomes clearer as we move on in Scripture, and it is something which is only fully revealed once we get to the New Testament.
Po mojem mnenju se ta pojem o Trojici postavlja čedalje bolj jasno v Stari zavezi in pravo razodeti oziroma dokončno podobo dobi v Novi zavezi.
And another point on this is the plural is used in this verse only.
Zanimivo je ugotoviti, da je množina uporabljena le tukaj.
Nowhere else in chapter 1 do we get the plural us.
Nikjer v prvem poglavju ne boste prebrali več množine.
So was the Trinity not involved in the rest of creation?
Ali to pomeni, da Trojica ni bila uporabljena v drugih fazah, če rečemo tako, stvarjenja?
So, while I believe in the Trinity, I don't think that the plural here is a reference to that.
Torej, čeprav verujem v Trojico, mislim, da to besedilo ne govori o njej.
Okay, any other ideas?
Ali je še kakšna ideja?
Yeah.
Jehove priče pravijo, da je Bog tukaj se pogovarjal z angeli, v smislu naj naredimo, torej z angeli.
He spoke to angels.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, right. So that God is speaking to the angels. He turns to the angels and he says, "Come on, let us."
Torej se Bog obrne angelo in pravi, dajte, pridite malo pa pomagajte.
The downside of that, of course, is that the angels themselves are created beings.
Problem pri tem je, da so sami angeli ustvarjena bitja.
And it's difficult to see how created beings can themselves create.
Zelo težko je nekako sprejeti, da ustvarjena bitja postanejo stvarnik ali pa ustvarjajo.
Because the Bible's quite clear that it is God alone who is the creator.
Svetopismo je jasno, da je le Bog stvarnik.
Any other ideas? Yes.
God is speaking about his image, so mankind is on the image of God.
Yes, it's true that human beings are, as we'll come to, is in the image of God.
Res, da je človeštvo ustvarjeno po Božji podobi.
And actually, I think the real answer,
Menim, da je pravi odgovor,
well, that is to say, my opinion,
izražam svoje mnenje, jasno.
builds on the point that you just made.
Pravzaprav nadaljevanje tega, kar si ravno rekel.
There are some others. I don't know if you have this in your language.
Ne vem, ali to je ali vaš jezik to prenaša.
But in English, we have what we call the royal plural, where the king is speaking or whatever, and you say we.
Morda bom kaj zdaj v hrvaško povedal. Angleščina ima en način, ki se reče kraljevski način, ko vzvišen jezik pravzaprav uporablja. Torej, da. Yes, we have.
The Pope, yes, same kind of thing, yes.
When the royalty says we,
Yeah, they mean I, yes.
Yes.
Yes. Now that might sound like a good idea.
Dobra zamisel, to ste slišali, da ko angleška kraljica o sebi govori, ona govori, mi smo to naredili, čeprav misli samo nase.
It works in some languages.
V nekaterih jezikih to lahko uporabljate.
It works in English,
V angleščini vsekakor.
Slovene and so on, but it doesn't work in Hebrew.
V hebrejščini pa tega ni.
There's no other example of this royal plural in the Hebrew language.
V hebrejskem jeziku ni drugega, če vzamemo to za en primer, drugega primera ni.
Now, the reason I've taken so long on this question of what's the importance of the plural
Zakaj toliko časa sploh jemljem okrog vprašanja množine tukaj?
is because I believe a very important point is at stake here.
Ker menim, da je to zelo pomembna točka.
Because there are cases when we read the Old Testament in Hebrew
So primeri, ko berete hebrejsko besedilo, staro zavezo v tem jeziku,
when an author comes to a point which is very, very important.
ko pride avtor do točke, ki se mu zdi zelo pomembna.
When the author wants to say, underline this, please don't forget this.
Ko bi hotel prenesti idejo, prosim, zapazite to, kar se tukaj govori, ne preslišite ali pa spregledajte, ne spregledajte tega.
Then they will move from the singular, as in let me,
Potem bo iz ednine šel v množino.
to the plural, let us.
Torej, ne bo rekel naj naredim, ampak naredimo.
And this is to say, this is a highly significant point.
S tem, kakor da reče, to je zelo pomembna stvar.
Let's look at another example of this in Genesis chapter 11.
Poglejmo primer tega v 11. poglavju prve Mojzesove.
Here we are at the Tower of Babel,
Tukaj je seveda poročilo o babilonskem stolpu.
and there at the beginning of verse 7,
V 7. vrsti
God says, come, let us go down.
Bog pravi, dajmo, stopimo dol in tam zmešajmo in tako naprej.
And who goes down?
Kdo potem gre dol?
God goes down.
Bog.
Not God and the angels, or God goes
Ne Bog
down.
in angeli, ampak Bog.
And why put that in the plural?
Zakaj bi to bilo v množini?
Because this is a highly significant event.
Zato, ker je ta dogodek zelo pomemben.
The rest of human history and human culture is going to be affected by this.
Preostanek človeškega življenja in človeška kultura bo pogojena s tem, kar se bo zgodilo tukaj.
If this had never happened, I would not need a translator this afternoon.
Če se ne bi to zgodilo tam, ne bi potreboval prevajalca.
So it shifts to the plural.
Tukaj se torej spremeni ednina v množino.
Human history and human culture will never be the same again. Please take note of this.
Bodite tukaj pozorni, ker človeška zgodovina in človeška kultura ne bo nikoli več enaka.
So then, coming back to Genesis chapter
Če
1,
se vrnemo na prvo poglavje zdaj,
let us make man, let us make human beings,
naredimo človeka.
is the Hebrew way of saying, please take note, this is highly important, highly significant. We've come to a critical point in creation.
Hebrejsko besedilo na ta način prenaša idejo, zdaj smo prišli do kritične točke, prosim, pozornost.
So that's one way then in which the importance of human beings is underlined.
Na ta način, to je en od načinov, kako je pomen človeštva pravzaprav poudarjen.
And then, remember what was said, let us make human beings in our image.
Potem, seveda, nadaljujemo besedilo, naredimo človeka po svoji podobi.
Now, what does it mean when it says that human beings are made in the image of God?
Kaj pomeni dejstvo, da je človek ustvarjen po Božji podobi?
Well, if you could float one ship in the ink that has been used to talk about the plural,
Če bi na področju te množine, o kateri smo govorili, lahko splavili eno ladjo v črnilo,
then you could float the entire American Navy in the ink that's been used to talk about the image of God.
potem bi v črnilo, ki je bilo uporabljeno, da se govori o Božji podobi, splavili celo ameriško, kaj je bilo, mornarico.
And a lot of that ink has been wasted.
In veliko tega črnila je bilo za manj porabljenega.
I'm going to keep things quite simple this afternoon.
Danes se bom držal zelo preprostih načel.
Remember, one question we're asking is, what sense would this make to the people who originally heard it?
Vi se spomnite, da smo rekli, da je pomembno vprašanje, kaj so razumeli prvi bralci besedila, ki ga imamo pred sabo.
Now, at the time that Genesis was written,
V času, ko je bila prva Mojzesova napisana,
kings and emperors,
so kralji in cesarji,
they would place images of themselves throughout their kingdoms and their empire.
so svoje podobe postavili na svoje področje, tam, kjer so vladali.
And all of these images of the king around his territory
Te kraljeve podobe povsod po njegovem področju
was his way of asserting his authority in that part of his kingdom.
je bil pravzaprav način, da vzpostavi svojo vladavino ali pa svojo avtoriteto na svojem področju.
And God says, you, human beings, are my image.
Tukaj Bog pravi, ti človek si moja podoba.
You are my representatives throughout my creation,
Vi ste moji predstavniki povsod, kjer je stvarjenje.
exerting God's authority in his creation.
In vi vladate, torej imate Božjo avtoriteto nad stvarjenjem.
And incidentally, just as an aside to that,
Lahko rečemo še to.
you remember in the Ten Commandments, God says, you shall not make for yourself an image.
Spomnite se, da v 10 zapovedih pravi ena, nikar si ne delaj podob.
Because in the ancient world, the images of gods were the means through which the gods made themselves known.
Ker je, še enkrat, v starem času so torej imeli bogovi svoje, podobe so bile način, kako so se božanstva pravzaprav razkrila človeku.
So what that commandment is saying
Kaj ta zapoved torej govori?
is, do not make me an image,
Ne delajte mi podob,
but be my image.
ampak bodite moje podobe.
Be my representatives in the world,
Bodite moji predstavniki na svetu.
but I don't make myself known in this world through wooden and metal images.
Ampak jaz se ne razkrivam človeku s pomočjo kovinskih ali lesenih podob.
But if God is going to be made known in this world, it is going to be through people like you and me.
Ampak če se bo Bog razkril temu človeštvu, potem bo to z uporabo tebe in mene,
Made in his image.
ker smo ustvarjeni po njegovi podobi.
So then, as God's images, we are his representatives in this world.
Kot Božje podobe na tem svetu, mi smo njegovi predstavniki.
So that again underlines how significant human beings are.
To je še en način, da se ugotovi, da je človeštvo zelo pomembno.
And once again, this view that we as human beings are significant flies in the face of the generally accepted views of the time.
Še enkrat, tudi to je v popolnem nasprotju s tem, kar so v antiki ljudje mislili na splošno.
Let me just give you a couple of quotations here from a couple of scholars.
Poglejmo zdaj nekaj citatov teologov, ki so rekli: ljudje so imeli malo dostojanstva in majhno vrednost ter veljali le za sužnje bogov.
So here you see this scholar is saying that human beings in the ancient world were considered merely slaves of the gods.
Tukaj vidimo, da ta teolog pravi, da so ljudi imeli v starem času samo za sužnje bogov.
And here's another scholar here. Listen to what he says.
Poglejte, kaj pravi ta teolog. V starodavnem pogledu na svet so ljudje veljali za sužnje bogov brez vsakega dostojanstva, razen tega, ki je temeljilo na spoznanju, da bogovi ne morejo brez ljudi, ki zadovoljujejo njihove potrebe.
Humanity then, the slaves of the gods.
Človeštvo pravzaprav predstavlja, ali pa ljudje so Božji sužnji,
In Genesis.
sužnji bogov.
So in Genesis, however, we are in the image of God,
V prvi Mojzesovi mi smo ustvarjeni po Božji podobi,
His representatives on earth.
kot njegovi predstavniki na zemlji.
We're significant.
Pomembni smo.
Don't go through life thinking you are a slave.
Nikoli ne hodite po svetu ali pa skozi življenje v prepričanju, da ste sužnji.
Any more than you think that the sun, the moon and the stars have fixed your fate.
Enako kot ne bi mislili, da so tista svetila, da omejujejo ali pa določajo vašo usodo.
So the way in which Genesis underlines how significant we are liberates us to enjoy life and have the freedom of life on God's good earth.
Prva Mojzesova nam tukaj govori ali pa nas osvobaja, da bi uživali življenje na tej Božji zemlji.
Well, there's much more we could say about that,
Lahko bi še veliko več govorili,
but we'll move now to the seventh day.
ampak se bomo usmerili na 7. dan.
And I know you're going to say, well, I know all about that.
Vem, da boste rekli, pa mislite zdaj, vse jaz o tem vse že vem.
And I'm glad that you know all about that because I'm looking for you to help me out here.
Veseli me, da vse veste o tem, ker potrebujem vašo pomoč.
When you start reading Genesis chapter 2,
Ko začnete drugo poglavje prve Mojzesove knjige,
have you ever noticed how it seems to begin with a contradiction?
ali ste kdaj opazili, da se začne z nasprotjem,
Now,
protislovjem?
I'm not sure how this is done in your Slovene Bibles,
Jaz ne vem, kako to vaše svetopismo naredi,
but what I've given you here is a literal, more or less literal translation.
Tukaj sem vam dal pravzaprav dobesedni prevod iz hebrejščine.
Which I hope is that what we have there. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all their multitude.
Tako sta bila narejena nebo in zemlja in vsa njuna vojska.
And on the seventh day, God finished the work.
7. dan je Bog dokončal delo.
That's it. Okay. Now, the first sentence.
Prvi stavek.
Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all their multitude.
Tako je nebo in zemlja in vse v njih dokončano.
So when were the heavens and earth finished then?
Kdaj so bila nebo in zemlja in vse ostalo, kdaj je to bilo vse končano?
On what day?
Kateri dan?
Yeah, on the sixth day. That's
6.
right.
dan, 6. dan, točno.
Thus the heavens and the earth were finished.
Nebo in zemlja sta bila narejena oziroma
Straightforward.
dokončana. Zelo jasno.
And on the seventh day, God finished the work.
Ampak na 7. dan je Bog končal svoje delo.
Now, just a minute. I mean, is it finished or is it not finished?
Ali je končano delo ali ni končano? Dajte, prosim.
You know, I get this same problem at Newbold College,
Isto stvar doživljam na Newboldu.
where a student knocks on my door.
Ko študenti pokličejo na moja vrata,
It's the deadline for handing in a paper.
to je zadnji dan, da bi predali svoje poročilo oziroma delo, kar so napisali,
And the student says,
nalogo.
here it is, it's finished.
Potem pravi študent, tukaj je, končano je.
I just need to add the introduction, the conclusion and all the footnotes, but it's finished.
Samo še dodam začetek, sklep in fusnote, ampak je končano.
And my question is, look, is it finished or is it not finished?
Moje vprašanje je, ali je končano ali ni končano.
So the way in which this is written has puzzled people over the centuries.
Način, kako je to besedilo napisano, je bil vzrok, da so bili zmedeni ljudje stoletja.
And there have been several ways of trying to get around what seems to be a contradiction.
In na različne načine so poskušali premagati to, kar se je zdelo kot nasprotje.
So let's look at a couple of these solutions.
Poglejmo, kaj so si okrog tega, kaj so sklenili nekateri glede tega.
The Greek version of the Old Testament translates it like this.
Grška verzija oziroma grški prevod Stare zaveze pravi tako: 6. dan je Bog končal vse delo, ki ga je opravljal, in 7. dan je prenehal delati.
So what the Greek does is simply take away seventh and put sixth in its place.
Pravzaprav je Grčina naredila, da je vzela 7. ven in dala 6. noter.
Well, that solves the problem then.
Torej smo rešili problem.
The problem is that isn't what the text says.
Pravzaprav besedilo tega ne pravi.
Now, some other people translate it like this.
Nekateri so prevedli tako.
By the seventh day, God had finished.
Do 7. dne je Bog končal delo.
So, not he finished it on the seventh day, but by the seventh day, he had finished it, so it was finished on the sixth day.
Do 7. dne, če rečete, do 7. dne je končal svoje delo, pomeni 7. dan ni bilo nič, 6. dan je pravzaprav konec.
But both of these solutions, I believe, miss the point.
Jaz menim, da sta obe rešitvi zgrešili tarča.
I think we should simply translate it as it comes literally.
Menim, da je treba stvar prevesti tako, kot pride dobesedno.
The first sentence tells us something. What is finished, according to the first sentence?
Kaj je končano glede na to, kar pravi prvi stavek?
What is finished?
Kaj je?
The heavens and the earth.
Nebo in zemlja.
The heavens and the earth, you can see the heavens and the earth, you can touch it, weigh it,
Nebo in
analyze it.
zemlja, to, kar vidite in se dotaknete in analizirate, je končano.
It's God's physical creation.
Božje fizično stvarstvo.
Oh, that's finished.
To je končano.
Oh, yeah, that's finished, yes.
Ali je to končano? Je, končano je.
But God's work isn't finished.
Ampak Božje delo ni bilo končano.
What does God do on the seventh day?
Kaj je Bog naredil 7. dne?
Because he creates something on the seventh day.
Ker on je ustvaril nekaj 7. dne.
What does he create on the seventh day?
Kaj je ustvaril 7. dne?
He creates, even more simply, that he creates holy time.
Ustvaril je sveti čas.
The holy time of the seventh day.
Sveti čas 7. dne.
And holy time isn't part of the physical universe.
Sveti čas pravzaprav ni del fizičnega vesolja.
You can't see holy time.
Ne moreš videti svetega časa.
You can't feel it or weigh it.
Ne moreš se ga dotakniti ali ga stehtati.
You can't go into your local shop and say, give me 1 kilogram of holy time, please.
Ne moreš iti v trgovino in v Špar se misli in prositi za 1 kilogram svetega časa.
It's not part of the heavens and the earth,
To ni del nebes in zemlje,
but it's part of God's creation.
ampak del Božjega stvarstva je.
In fact, without it,
Brez tega pravzaprav
creation is incomplete.
bi bilo stvarjenje nedokončano.
That's why the heavens and the earth are completed.
Zato sta nebo in zemlja končana,
But God's creation is not complete without holy time.
ampak Božje stvarjenje ni končano brez tega svetega časa.
So, this is another way in which Genesis underlines the question, it underlines the point of the Sabbath being the climax of creation.
To je še novi način, da prva Mojzesova poudarja pomen 7. dne, ki je konec stvarstva.
It's to underline the fact that what's been talked about here in Genesis chapter 1
To poudarja, da to, o čemer beremo v prvi Mojzesovi prvem poglavju,
creation,
stvarjenje,
ultimately it is a spiritual matter.
da je stvarjenje pravzaprav v polnoti duhovna zadeva.
It's not just a matter of atoms and molecules and physical objects and living beings.
Ne gre samo za atome in molekule in živa bitja.
It's ultimately a matter of spirituality and holiness.
Konec koncev gre tukaj za duhovne zadeve in
Summed up.
svetost.
Summed up in that holy time with which it concludes.
In tu se konča pravzaprav s tem svetim časom in zato je temu tako.
So let me now then pull together some of the main points that we've been looking at in Genesis 1.
Povzemimo zdaj nekaj osnovnih točk, ki smo se jih naučili v prvem poglavju.
And if we ask this question then, what does Genesis 1 tell us about God?
Kaj nam prvo poglavje v prvi Mojzesovi govori o Bogu?
Well, of course, it tells us numerous things, far more than I'm going to tell you now.
Seveda nam govori veliko več od tega, kar lahko danes govorimo.
However, among the things that it tells us about God are these.
Ampak med temi stvarmi so tudi te.
It tells us that God brings order out of chaos.
Rekli smo, da Bog prinaša v kaos, prinaša red.
And the God who can bring physical order out of physical chaos
Bog, ki v fizičnem smislu prinaša red v fizični kaos,
can bring moral and spiritual order out of moral and spiritual chaos.
lahko tudi pripelje moralni red v nemoralni, v kaos v moralnem smislu.
And maybe he can bring order to the chaos of my life too.
In morda lahko prinese red v moje življenje.
It tells us that he is the Lord of time and space.
Tukaj smo se naučili, da je Bog gospodar časa in prostora.
In the beginning,
V začetku,
the limits of time,
to je začetek časa,
he created the heavens and the earth,
Bog je ustvaril nebo in zemljo.
the limits of space.
To so omejitve ali pa meje časa.
There is-
Meje prostora, se pravi.
There is nothing outside of his control.
Nič ni zunaj njegovega nadzora.
He's also a personal and eternal God.
On je osebni in tudi večni Bog.
He's not an impersonal force which just runs its way through nature and creation.
To ni samo moč, ki bi nekje tekla po stvarstvu.
He's outside of creation. He creates creation.
On je zunaj stvarstva, on ustvarja stvarstva.
He's a personal God we can relate to.
On je osebni Bog, s katerim lahko vzpostavimo stik.
And eternal also.
In tudi večen je.
We've already looked at that point then. He's also distinct from creation. We've just mentioned
Smo
that.
že rekli, da je on drugačen oziroma ni isto, kar je kot stvarstvo.
There's only one God, and so he creates effortlessly.
Bog je samo en in ustvarja brez napora.
And here's one point, actually, where we can see the Genesis text being in tension, not just with ancient thought, but with modern thought as well.
Tukaj vidimo, I'm sorry.
This is a point in which Genesis contradicts not simply ancient thought, but also modern thought.
To je točka, v kateri to besedilo ne nasprotuje samo misli človeka nekoč, ampak tudi sodobnemu času.
Ancient people thought of creation in terms of struggle.
Prej nekoč so ljudje mislili na stvarjenje v smislu borbe.
Many modern people think of creation in terms of struggle as well.
Mnogi ljudje danes premišljujejo o stvarjenju v smislu borbe.
The survival of the fittest and so on.
Preživetje najbolj, kako se reče, najmočnejših.
But in Genesis, God said, "Let there be light," and there was light.
V prvi Mojzesovi Bog je rekel, naj bo luč in je bila svetloba.
Because there's only one God,
Ker je Bog samo eden,
the heavenly bodies are just lights.
so nebesna telesa samo luči.
We are not there under our fate is not sealed at birth.
Naša usoda ni zapečatena ob rojstvu.
Then what does Genesis tell us about ourselves? What does it tell us about us?
Kaj nam prva Mojzesova govori o nas?
Well, one thing it tells us is that we are not the climax of creation.
Prva stvar, ki nam jo pravi, ena od stvari, je, da nismo višek stvarstva.
And I'm glad that that's the case.
In jaz sem vesel, da je temu tako.
Because I looked at myself in the mirror this morning.
Ker sem se pogledal zjutraj v ogledalo.
and if I am the climax of creation,
Če sem jaz višek stvarjenja,
I mean, my wife might believe that.
morda to moja žena veruje.
Human beings are not the climax of creation. So that should teach us humility.
To naj bi nas naučilo ponižnosti.
Although we aren't the climax of creation,
Čeprav nismo višek stvarjenja,
we have a high status in God's eyes.
v Božjih očeh imamo visok položaj.
We are important.
Pomembni smo.
And I can look myself in the mirror tomorrow morning and tell myself that.
Jutri zjutraj se lahko pogledam v ogledalo in si lahko povem,
Yeah, you are important to God
pomemben si Bogu.
and all other human beings
In
too.
vsi drugi ljudje tudi.
So don't go through life thinking yourself a slave.
Ne pojdite skozi življenje ali pa ne hodite v njem misleč, da ste sužnji.
You were created in his image in order to represent him in this world.
Vi ste ustvarjeni po njegovi podobi, da bi ga predstavljali v tem svetu.
And on this point of being God's representatives on earth,
Glede te točke, da smo Božji predstavniki na svetu,
what a huge privilege that is.
kako čudovita prednost je to. Ogromna.
Sometimes we might say to ourselves, I don't know what I'm supposed to do in life.
Včasih si rečemo, ne vem, kaj bi naj počel v življenju.
Well, there's one thing you can always do regardless of what profession or career you follow.
Je ena stvar, ki jo vedno lahko naredite, ne glede na to, s čim se ukvarjate.
Represent God in this world.
Predstavljaj Boga v svetu.
Be his image.
Bodi njegova podoba.
And then we've already looked at this to some extent, but it's worthwhile here because it tells us something about ourselves. We are not victims of fate.
O tem smo že govorili, ampak vredno je ponoviti. Mi nismo žrtev usode.
We have a relationship with a personal God.
Imamo odnos, občestvo z osebnim Bogom.
And it is in his hands and with his direction that we live our lives.
Mi živimo svoje življenje v njegovih rokah pod njegovim vodstvom.
Not the random position of the sun, the moon and the stars.
Ne determinirani s tem, kakšen položaj zvezd je bil v tem času.
And so we just look at a couple of final implications here.
Zdaj bomo nekaj sklepov, končnih sklepov pravzaprav povedali.
And this reiterates what we've been talking about.
In to pravzaprav ponavlja tisto, kar smo že rekli.
We see that the Sabbath, holy time, is the climax of creation.
Višek stvarjenja je sobota, svet čas.
And that holy time on which creation ends shows that creation is ultimately a divine and holy enterprise.
To nam pove, da je stvarjenje pravzaprav božansko in tudi sveto početje.
Creation is more than just material things.
Stvarjenje ali stvarjenje ni samo materialna zadeva.
So, at the beginning of our investigation of Genesis 1,
V začetku našega ukvarjanja s prvim poglavjem prve Mojzesove
we said that we wanted to try to understand what this text would mean to its original hearers.
smo rekli, da nas zanima, kaj to besedilo pravzaprav pove tistim, ki so ga najprej brali.
As a way of discovering how we today might be able to apply it in our
In
lives.
smo rekli, da je to način, kako bomo ugotovili, kako lahko apliciramo to v svoje življenje, uporabimo v svojem življenju mi.
And I think we discovered that Genesis is in conflict with the thinking of its own time.
Ugotovili smo, da je prva Mojzesova v spopadu z mišljenjem, ki ga je imel svet takrat, v svojem času.
On many points, Genesis flatly contradicts the thinking of its own time.
V mnogo čem, kot smo videli, je prva Mojzesova v popolnem nasprotju s tem, kar so ljudje mislili takrat.
So it would be a shame if in our modern time
Bilo bi strašno, če bi danes
we didn't also view the book of Genesis as being a radical book.
gledali, če bi danes torej gledali na prvo Mojzesovo drugače kot na radikalno knjigo.
Genesis doesn't agree with the thinking of its own time,
Prva Mojzesova se ne ujema z mnenjem in stališči svojega časa.
nor does it agree with much of the thinking of our own time.
Ne ujema se niti z mnogo čem, kar mislimo danes.
It was radical then,
Bilo je radikalno takrat, svetopismo oziroma prva Mojzesova.
it was radical then, it is radical now.
Tudi danes je radikalno.
So rather than, let us say, Adventists having a reputation for being conservative, we should have a reputation like Genesis for being truly radical.
Namesto da bi bili adventisti znani v svetu kot konservativci, mi bi morali biti podobni prvi Mojzesovi kot radikalci.